Introducing Getting to Know Yourself as a South African, Unraveling Xhosa History. A Journey from Central Africa to South Africa. Written by Salatiso Mnguni. E-book and hard copies are available from Amazon. Xhosa and Afrikaans translation on the way. I owe a debt of gratitude to my family for making this book possible. Through times both good and bad, you have become an integral part of that family. The country lying between the present colonies of the Cape and Natal was first explored by Europeans in the year 1655, and was then found to be occupied by four great tribes: the Mpondomise, the Mpondo, the Thembu, and the Xhosa, who formed nations as distinct from each other as are the French and the Italians. Their language was the same, and their laws and customs varied very slightly, but in all that respected government they were absolutely independent of one another. It has since been ascertained that the tribes further northward do not differ materially from these. George McCall Thiel's Xhosa Folk Tales. Preface. Growing up in the former Transkei, as a Xhosa native, I believed I had a deep understanding of my heritage. I grew up surrounded, mostly by individuals who lived by the old ways, Amakoba. I immersed myself in the customs and traditions of yore. The rich traditions were enthusiastically passed down through storytelling sessions beneath the moonlit sky, or by the flickering fire in a cozy, albeit occasionally smoky, rendezvous, creating an unforgettable atmosphere. This was a time when mobile phones were rare, radios were luxuries, and televisions were almost non-existent. I never tire of recounting the first time I saw a television set, or at least I thought I did, only to be massively disappointed since the metal thing didn't show any images. I was around 6 years old, mistaking the antenna on the roof for the television itself because I knew no better. While I did not actively seek knowledge about my lineage, the profound Xhosa roots that permeated every aspect of my environment captivated my attention. However, as I entered my teenage years and moved away from the Eastern Cape, my visits back home became infrequent. I began to miss out on the subtle intricacies of our ancestral rituals and norms. My hopes of delving deeper into written records were shattered by the scarcity and inaccessibility of books that detailed the historical evolution of the Xhosa people, whose roots can be traced back to Central and East Africa. The biggest shock came when I read George McCall Thiel's Xhosa Folk Tales. It was the first time I got an understanding of the diverse tribes present in the Xhosa community. Until then I thought all the tribes under the Xhosa nation were subgroups, with Xhosa always having existed as a nation. Nothing could be further from the truth. Xhosa existed as one of many tribes who were Xhosa speaking around the now Eastern Cape region of South Africa. Each tribe has its own individual identity that predates King Hinsa Uta's assimilation of the Eastern Cape tribes into the Xhosa nation from 1820 to 1835. I had never realized that Xhosa had not always been a collective name for these tribes and that they were once separate entities. As a homeschooling father, my ignorance deeply affected me. Then there is the common ancestry between native Africans that predates the Xhosa, Zulu, Ndebele, Swazi nations in our common ancestor Mnguni. Within us all as South African Bantu tribes, we have common ancestors that predates even our Nguni ancestors from our immigration through Central African from common roots. I am acutely aware of the irony behind the fact that the idea for this book originated from the son of a Canadian doctor, who briefly lived in the United States and Sierra Leone before settling in South Africa in the 1800s. It is equally important to recognize that as I delved into my family's history, I relied heavily on technologies that are a result of the initial encounters, conflicts, but most importantly, the collaboration and lasting coexistence between my ancestors and the Western explorers of that time. Above all, these details aim to symbolize the interconnectedness among us as human beings, regardless of surface disparities, historical origins, and locations. We can choose to amplify our differences to justify conflict between us as people, but common lineage did not prevent internal conflicts between the Bantu, which led to the nations, tribes and clans we have, not only in South Africa but throughout Africa. Neither did it prevent Romulus from killing Remus despite him being his brother. Common descent even in Indian mythology rather than contribute to unity, it was the justification for the India's caste system. Regardless of whether one embraces the scientific explanation for humanity's origins, linking all humans and life to a shared ancestor, or religious creation myths that often attribute our beginnings to a common creator, it is clear that common descent has not ensured reliable coexistence and cooperation. The research I conducted for this book took me on an unforgettable journey through history. It reinforced to me a valuable lesson, that despite our diverse backgrounds, as South Africans, we have way more incentives to come together and strive mutually for survival and success than the alternatives. Our individuality, more than hindering our progress, has been enriching our collective experience if all things are considered. Realizing my lack of knowledge, I understood that I need to educate myself before trying to educate my children and family. As the homeschooling father, I homeschool not only because I love teaching my kids, but also because I love learning myself. This realization prompted me to embark on a journey of discovery, which ultimately led me to create this book. Needless to say, while conducting my research, I uncovered a wealth of information. However, this book only attempts to touch on the most significant aspects. I plan to explore further as part of this series, which will encompass not only the Xhosa nation, but also the diverse nations in South Africa, from Zulu to Indian, Afrikaans, and Venda, English and Pedi, Swana and Songa, Swati, Sotho, and Ndebele, and everyone in between. The Bantu expansion from Central Africa. Chapter 1: The Bantu Migration and Early Origins of the Xhosa People. Clans are groups of families with different surnames, but sharing one clan name. For example, Radebe is the clan, but the nation is called Ama. Klubi. The clan name is the name of the first ancestor or family that gave birth to the clan. Clans make up tribes and tribes make up nations. The Xhosa people, as part of the Nguni, and a subset of the Bantu, have a rich and complex history. Originating from Central Africa, the Bantu migration, characterized by shared languages and cultural customs, led to the eventual settlement of the Xhosa nation predominantly in the Eastern Cape. This movement, which began over 2 millennia ago, was driven by population growth, the pursuit of arable land, and economic opportunities. During their southward migration, the Bantu encountered the Khoisan people, resulting in cultural exchange and blending that significantly influenced the formation of the Xhosa identity. The subsequent development of distinct tribal groups within the Xhosa nation further illustrates the diversity and richness of their heritage. Furthermore, the 16th century separation from the Zulu, stemming from political and territorial disputes, led to the establishment of individual Xhosa tribes. Despite this division, the Xhosa and the Zulu maintain a shared heritage and language, isiXhosa, symbolizing strong connections to other Bantu languages in Central Africa. Certainly, the Xhosa people's commitment to preserving their cultural and linguistic heritage, from their Bantu origins to their interactions with the Khoisan, and subsequent divergence from the Zulu, is a testament to their resilience and pride. SouthAfrica.net 1.1 Arrival and interaction with the Khoisan people. As Bantu speakers, they gradually moved southward, settling in what is now known as the Eastern Cape Province. It was during this migration that the Xhosa people came into contact with the Khoisan, the indigenous inhabitants of the region. The interaction between the Xhosa and the Khoisan was a significant chapter in the Xhosa people's history. The Khoisan, known for their unique language, culture, and hunter-gatherer lifestyle, had inhabited the region for thousands of years before the arrival of the Bantu-speaking Xhosa. This encounter shaped the Xhosa people's culture, language, and social dynamics, leading to a fusion of the two communities. The Xhosa and the Khoisan exchanged ideas, knowledge, and practices, resulting in a rich cultural tapestry. The Xhosa people adopted elements of the Khoisan language, integrating it into their own linguistic heritage. They also learned from the Khoisan's hunting and gathering techniques, adapting them to their agricultural practices. However, the relationship between the Xhosa and the Khoisan was not always harmonious. Tensions arose as the Xhosa population grew, and their demand for land increased. This led to conflicts over territory and resources, which affected the dynamics between the two groups. The impact of the Khoisan on the Xhosa people is so profound that even the name Xhosa is said to have come from the Khoisan language, directly translated to mean angry men. As you can guess, this was not given in affection but rather as a result of conflicts between the people who would later be Xhosa and the Khoisan. After the Khoisan hunted domesticated cattle of the people that would later be named Xhosa, conflict ensued between the two, amongst other things resulting in the Xhosa name. 1.2. Early settlements and tribes in the Eastern Cape. As the Xhosa people settled in the Eastern Cape, they established various tribes that would become integral to their identity. These tribes include the Ama Mpando, Ama Mpondomise, Ama Mnguni, Ama Xhosa, Ama Khoisan, Ama Bhaca, Ama Zizaib, Ama Bomvana, Ama Mbalu, Ama Ndlam, Ama Ntand, Ama Klubi, Ama Zizi, Ama Vandal, Ama Gcaleka, Ama Ngqika, Ama Thembu, and others. Each tribe had its own distinct culture, customs, and leadership structures, but they all shared a common ancestry and language. As a member of the Chetsi clan through my father, I trace my lineage to the Bomvana tribe. Ama Bomvana are part of the Xhosa nation and come from the Mnguni people of KwaZulu-Natal. In 1650, they left Natal and settled in Pondoland, after a disagreement over cattle. They were later forced to move to the area east of the Mbash River, seeking protection from the Gcaleka tribe under King Hinsa. They have cultural connections with other tribes like Ama Mpondomise, Ama Zizaib, Abekwa Mkiza, and Ama Mpando. The other half of who I am is because of the Kola clan. They migrated from the Zulu kingdom to the Eastern Cape, and interacted with the Xhosa people and various other tribes and clans. Over time, they have been part of several conflicts and wars, facing off against the Xhosa, the British and the Boers. The Kola clan has shown great strength in resisting colonialism and apartheid, playing a key role in history. I have personal experience with this because the first time I visited Johannesburg in the late 80s and early 90s was with my mother, as she was searching for my uncle, who had been imprisoned for his political involvement. Little did I know then, as my studies in criminal law would later reveal, that he not only escaped death as the primary accused, facing execution, but he also became a father figure to me after my own father passed away. Since receiving his pardon, he embraced his life as a provider for his family, and a successful career which earned him the retirement as a farmer which he is now enjoying. Even now, he continues to be the most influential man I have ever had the honor of knowing, second only to my father. The Kola clan's name is derived from the Zulu word Ubaba, which means father. They are closely related to the Xhosa nation through their association with the Ama Rohade royal house, which is an esteemed position within the Xhosa kingship. The Ama Rohade royal house was founded by Prince Rohade, the son of King Philo, who ruled the Xhosa nation in the 18th century. Prince Rohade and his followers settled beyond the K River and established their own kingdom, interacting with various tribes and clans, including the Kola clan. Over time, the Kola clan became allies and subjects of the Ama Rohade royal house. They adopted many Xhosa customs and traditions, cementing their connection to the royal lineage. Today, the Kola clan remains an integral part of the Ama Rohade royal house, recognizing the authority and leadership of the Xhosa king. The Gcaleka tribe traces its lineage back to the famous chief Philo, who was the progenitor of the Xhosa nation. The Ngqika tribe, on the other hand, was renowned for its fierce resistance against colonial rule, and played a significant role in the Xhosa Wars of the 19th century. The Eastern Cape region became a melting pot of Xhosa culture, with each tribe contributing its unique traditions and practices. The Xhosa people developed a rich oral tradition, passing down their history, folklore, and values through storytelling, praise songs, and proverbs. Understanding the early settlements and clans in the Eastern Cape is crucial to comprehending the historical origins of the Xhosa people. It sheds light on their journey from Central Africa as Bantu, their interactions with the Khoisan, and their eventual split from the Zulu. This knowledge is not only significant for history lovers but also for Xhosa people and South Africans as a whole, as it contributes to a deeper understanding of the diverse cultural tapestry that makes up the nation. The Eastern Cape holds a treasure trove of history and cultural heritage, particularly regarding the early settlements and groups of the Xhosa people. Exploring this chapter of history allows us to appreciate the historical origins of the Xhosa people, their interactions with the Khoisan, and their eventual splitting into various tribes. By unraveling the complex tapestry of Xhosa history, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diverse cultural heritage of South Africa and the contributions of the Xhosa people to its rich historical narrative. Chapter 2: Xhosa-Khoisan Relations and Interactions. Cultural Exchange and Adaptation. Throughout history, the identity and heritage of the Xhosa people of South Africa have been profoundly shaped by cultural exchange and adaptation. It was enthralling to uncover, during a trip to Namibia 20 years ago, the far-reaching presence of the Xhosa people beyond the borders of South Africa, with communities extending into neighboring countries like Lesotho. Magriza Can Cook, a YouTube channel, showcases Xhosa Osa Zimbabwe, a unique cultural experience. Intermarriage played a significant role in the remarkable integration of Khoisan customs into the Xhosa culture. The way this would happen is that Khoisan individuals would marry Xhosa individuals, and vice versa, creating bonds between the two communities and facilitating cultural exchange. As a result, aspects of Khoisan traditions and practices became integrated into Xhosa society, enriching their cultural fabric. The integration of the Khoisan click sounds into the Xhosa language stands out as a key aspect of this cultural exchange, setting Xhosa communication apart from other Bantu languages. Beyond language, the Xhosa people also adopted certain musical instruments and styles from the Khoisan, such as the mouth bow and certain dances. Additionally, the Khoisan's pastoralist lifestyle and knowledge of herding and tending livestock may have influenced the Xhosa people's own practices. Moreover, the Xhosa people readily integrated the Khoisan's extensive understanding of plants and traditional medicinal techniques into their own healing rituals and remedies. This cultural interchange cultivated a diverse array of traditions and customs within the Xhosa community, showcasing the interdependence and common heritage of indigenous peoples across southern Africa. Their encounter with other Bantu-speaking groups, particularly the Zulu, upon settling in the former Transkei, now known as the Eastern Cape province of South Africa, sparked further cultural exchange, leading to the development of unique customs and traditions within different Xhosa subgroups. It is for this reason that there are a lot of commonalities between Xhosa and Zulu customs and traditions. Both cultures share similar linguistic and cultural practices, which have been influenced by their shared history and geographical proximity. Many of the traditional beliefs and rituals in Xhosa and Zulu cultures are deeply rooted in their shared Bantu heritage and have been passed down through generations. This has resulted in a strong sense of interconnectedness and mutual understanding between the two cultures. The diversity within the Xhosa community is a testament to their adaptability and resilience as they navigated the intricate dynamics of cultural exchange and adaptation. 2.1. Conflicts and wars with the Khoisan. The wars between the Xhosa and the Khoisan in South Africa were mainly caused by competition for land and resources. The colonial expansion of the Dutch and British powers in the Eastern Cape region also played a role. The Xhosa were agricultural and pastoral, while the Khoisan were hunter-gatherers and nomads. These differences led to alliances and conflicts. The Xhosa often fought against the Zulu and the British, while the Khoisan sometimes sided with the Dutch and the British against the Xhosa. A conflict between the Xhosa and the Khoisan happened in 1779, when the Xhosa invaded the area where the Khoisan lived. This sparked the First Cape Frontier War, which lasted until 1781. The Xhosa and the Khoisan clashed again in the Third Cape Frontier War, 1799 to 1801, when the Khoisan rebelled against the Dutch and joined forces with the Xhosa. The Fourth Cape Frontier War, 1811 to 1812, ended with the British driving the Xhosa out of the area and taking control. As the Xhosa and the Khoisan faced British colonial invasion, they sometimes cooperated and supported each other in resisting the British, especially during the Sixth Cape Frontier War, 1834 to 1835, and the Eighth Cape Frontier War, 1850 to 1853. However, there were also internal divisions and conflicts among the Xhosa and the Khoisan, as some collaborated with the British or the Boers. Ultimately, both groups lost their land and independence to the British, who annexed their territories and incorporated them into the Cape Colony. 2.2 Influence on Xhosa social structure and beliefs. The Khoikhoi were the pioneering pastoralists in southern Africa, introducing the notion of cattle as a symbol of wealth and status to the Xhosa. The Xhosa adopted the Khoikhoi tradition of lobola, or bride wealth, which involved offering cattle to the bride's family as a means of compensation and alliance. Additionally, the Khoikhoi shared religious beliefs and rituals with the Xhosa, including the belief in a supreme being called uThixo or uNkulunkulu, and the honoring of ancestors through sacrifices and ceremonies. From the Khoikhoi, the Xhosa learned the use of divination bones and herbs to connect with the spirit world and heal diseases. Both the Khoikhoi and the Xhosa shared a common origin in the Mnguni language family and influenced each other's languages over time. The Xhosa language incorporated click sounds and words from the Khoikhoi language, particularly for place names, animal names, and loanwords. In turn, the Khoikhoi language also adopted some words and grammatical structures from the Xhosa language. Chapter 3. Xhosa-Zulu relations and the split into different Xhosa tribes. The manner in which the Kafirs became divided into independent tribes in ancient times is clearly shown by the law of succession to the chieftainship which is in force to the present day. The first wives of a chief are usually the daughters of some of his father's principal retainers, but as he increases in power his alliance is courted by great families, and thus it generally happens that the last of his wives is the highest in rank. Probably she is the daughter of a neighboring chief, for it is indispensable in her case that the blood of the ruling line should flow in her veins. She is termed the Great Wife, and her eldest son is the principal heir. Another of his wives is invested at some period of his life, with the consent of his counselors and friends, with the title of Wife of the Right Hand, and to her eldest son is allotted a portion of the tribe, with which he forms a new clan. George McCall Thiel's Kafa Xhosa Folk Tales. 3. Historical ties between the Xhosa and Zulu. The Xhosa and Zulu people share a common ancestry, and for centuries, they coexisted harmoniously in what is now known as South Africa. It was during the rise of the Zulu kingdom under the legendary King Shaka that tensions began to emerge between the two groups. The Xhosa people, led by their own chiefs and kings, eventually decided to break away from the Zulu kingdom and established their own independent communities. This development was also influenced by interclan conflicts, population growth, and the need for new sources of food and grazing land. The leadership of prominent chiefs and the formation of alliances or rivalries with neighboring groups played a significant role in shaping the Xhosa tribes. As a result, various Xhosa tribes developed distinct identities, traditions, and territories over time, contributing to the diversity within the Xhosa culture. The Xhosa split from the Zulu and the formation of different Xhosa tribes is believed to have occurred in the 16th century. It was influenced by a mixture of social, political, and economic factors. The Xhosa people migrated southwards from the Great Lakes region and settled in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. This split gave rise to various Xhosa tribes. The Mefekane or time of crushing in the early 19th century further fueled the disintegration of the Xhosa clans. This period of upheaval resulted in further fragmentation and the emergence of new groups. These new groups often formed as a result of the movement and displacement caused by the Mefekane, leading to a reshuffling of territorial boundaries and the formation of new alliances. The Xhosa were one of many groups that had to adapt to the changing landscape and power dynamics during this tumultuous period. Despite the challenges, they managed to carve out their own place in the evolving social and political landscape of the region. One of the key figures in the formation of the Xhosa was Chief Ngqika, who played a crucial role in uniting various Xhosa-speaking clans under a common banner. Under his leadership, the Xhosa began to establish themselves as a formidable force in the region, challenging other rival groups and defending their territory. They also developed strategies for coping with the changing environment, including a heightened emphasis on military prowess and diplomatic negotiations with neighboring groups. This period marked a pivotal moment in the history of the Xhosa, as they solidified their presence and influence in the region. Despite being separated, the Xhosa and Zulu people have maintained a strong cultural connection throughout history, which continues to this day. The Xhosa people, in particular, have preserved their oral traditions, storytelling, and rituals, which often reflect their historical ties to the Zulu. 3.1 Factors leading to the split. One of the key factors that contributed to the split was the geographical expansion of the Xhosa people. As they migrated southwards, they encountered different landscapes, climate, and resources. These variations played a significant role in shaping the cultural and social dynamics of the Xhosa people. With the diverse environments they settled in, the Xhosa gradually developed distinct customs, traditions, and even dialects, leading to a natural division within the community. Another factor that led to the split was the influence of neighboring groups. Over time, the Xhosa people interacted and intermingled with various communities, particularly the Khoisan people. The intermarriage and cultural exchange between the Xhosa and the Khoisan contributed to the formation of distinct subgroups within the Xhosa community. The mixing of different languages, customs, and belief systems further reinforced the development of unique identities within the Xhosa people. Additionally, political and leadership differences played a significant role in the split of the Xhosa people. As the Xhosa society expanded, the need for effective governance became crucial. Different subgroups began to develop their own leadership structures and systems. Disagreements and conflicts over power and authority eventually led to the formation of separate factions, each with their own leaders. This division further solidified the separate identities and subgroups within the Xhosa community. Furthermore, external influences such as colonization and the arrival of European settlers also played a role in the Xhosa split. The intrusion of foreign powers disrupted the social and political dynamics of the Xhosa people. The Xhosa communities had to navigate through the complexities of colonial rule and European encroachment, resulting in further fragmentation and division within the Xhosa society. The split of the Xhosa people from the Zulu can be attributed to a combination of geographical, cultural, political, and external factors. The Xhosa people's journey from Central Africa to South Africa, their interactions with different ethnic groups, and the challenges posed by colonization all contributed to the diversification and eventual split of the Xhosa community. Understanding these factors is essential in unraveling the rich and complex history of the Xhosa people and their contribution to the diverse tapestry of South African heritage. 3.3 Shared customs and beliefs between the Xhosa and the Zulu nations. Despite the historical divide, the shared lineage and enduring traditions that have surpassed conflicts and stood the test of time still unite the two nations to this day. The similarities between the Xhosa and Zulu cultures far outweigh their differences even to date, symbolizing the historical ties. From a language perspective, the Xhosa and the Zulu languages are closely related, and they both belong to the Mnguni language family. They have similar vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation, but they also have some differences, such as the number of click sounds and the tone system indicating the Khoisan influence on the Xhosa. Shared customs between the Xhosa and Zulu nations include initiation ceremonies, respect for ancestors, oral traditions, and the use of traditional medicines. Both cultures place great importance on initiation rituals, where young boys or girls transition into adulthood through various rites of passage. Ancestor reverence is also prominent in both societies, with beliefs in the spiritual connection with deceased family members. Oral traditions, including storytelling, praise songs, riddles, legends and proverbs, are integral to the cultural heritage of both the Xhosa and Zulu people. They also have various forms of music and dance, such as izikhathamiya, maskandi, and gumboot dance. They use musical instruments, such as drums, flutes, horns and string instruments, such as the agi. Furthermore, traditional medicine plays a significant role in healing and wellness practices, incorporating the use of herbs, rituals, and spiritual guidance. These shared customs reflect the rich cultural heritage and traditions of these two nations. Chapter 4. The Xhosa Nation, from the common ancestors to the unification under the Xhosa banner. 4. The foundations of the Xhosa Nation, from Mnguni I. First of all, people must know the use of the term Thembu, translated as Fingo in English, is an insult and there is no nation called Thembu. What happened is that during migration from Gcaleka, a certain group of Abambo arrived in Butterworth in 1828. When they were asked by Zanzolo who they were, they said, "Sing Abambo, siamfengutsa sifuna umhlaba, we are Abambo, we are destitute, we are looking for land." That was the beginning of the use of the term Thembu, meaning the destitute, and in the Bantu history, there was never a nation called the destitutes. Dr. Nokuzo Lumdind, No African History and Identity, Before Reviving Mental Colonialism, Dispatch Liv. The origins of the Xhosa nation can be traced back to Mnguni, with Xhosa, a direct descendant of Mnguni, being honored as the founder of the Xhosa nation after conquering the Kera and Xhosa groups to establish the Xhosa kingdom. Kera, the son of Xhosa and the grandson of Mnguni II, founded the Ama Kera clan, one of the subgroups of the Xhosa nation. His son Xhosa, who went on to defeat the Kera and Xhosa groups, became the founder of the Xhosa kingdom. His successors expanded the kingdom's influence by settling in new territories and bringing the inhabitants under the authority of the Ama Xhosa, normally adopting the name of the chief under whom they had unified. Hinsa is a descendant of Falokachiu. He went on to unite the different tribes under the Xhosa nation. 4.1 The formation of the different tribes. There are many tribes under the Xhosa nation, most of which predate even the unification under the Xhosa nation. Below are some of them. This list is not exhaustive by any means. 4.1.1 The Gcaleka Tribe. The Gcaleka tribe history takes a significant turn, with their split from the Zulu. This division occurred during the reign of King Phalo, the revered ancestor of the Xhosa people. The first time I heard of the legendary king was through Greetings Msikafalo, which directly translates to House of Phalo, signifying his contribution. Dissatisfied with the Zulu leadership, the Gcaleka, along with other Xhosa groups, made the decision to forge their own path, leading to the formation of distinct clans such as Bhaca, Gcaleka, Thembu, Mpondomise, Mnguni, Mpando, and Bomvana. The Gcaleka tribe, under the leadership of Chief Gcaleka, emerged as one of the most prominent and powerful clans within the Xhosa nation. They established their stronghold in the Eastern Cape, becoming custodians of the land and defenders of their people. The Gcaleka tribe played a pivotal role in the struggles against colonial forces, resisting encroachment and fighting to preserve their autonomy and traditions. Today, the Gcaleka people, along with other Xhosa tribes, continue to honor their rich heritage and contribute to the vibrant tapestry of South African society. Their unique cultural practices, language, and traditional beliefs serve as a testament to their resilience and spirit. 4.1.2 Creation of the Bhaca tribe. Among the clans that emerged from the Xhosa-Zulu split, the Bhaca tribe holds a prominent place. Led by Chief Bhaca, they embarked on a journey of resilience and determination that shaped their unique destiny within the Xhosa nation. The Bhaca people settled in the rugged terrains of the Eastern Cape, adapting to their environment and cultivating a close connection with the land. The Bhaca tribe is renowned for their deep-rooted cultural practices, including their distinctive attire, music, dance, and oral traditions. Their rich mythology, storytelling, and spiritual beliefs form an integral part of the Xhosa cultural tapestry, contributing to the preservation and celebration of their unique heritage. The Bhaca tribe has left an indelible mark on the Xhosa nation. Their warriors, known for their bravery and military prowess, played a vital role in shaping the region's history. They defended their lands against external threats and played a significant role in the resistance against colonial rule. Today, the Bhaca people continue to contribute to the socio-economic development of South Africa, excelling in various fields and upholding their cultural legacy. The creation of the Bhaca tribe stands as a testament to the resilience and unwavering spirit of the Xhosa people. Their journey from Central Africa to South Africa, their encounter with the Khoisan, and their split from the Zulu kingdom highlight the complexity and diversity of their history. 4.1.3 Emergence of the Ngqika tribe. The Ngqika tribe, led by Chief Ngqika, emerged as one of the prominent factions during this period of political upheaval. Chief Ngqika was known for his strong leadership and strategic alliances, which allowed the Ngqika tribe to assert its influence in the region. They played a crucial role in resisting the colonial expansion of the British and Dutch settlers, fighting to protect their land and preserve their cultural heritage. The Ngqika tribe's history is intertwined with the broader struggles of the Xhosa people against colonialism and oppression. They faced numerous challenges, including land dispossession, forced labor, and cultural assimilation. Despite these hardships, the Ngqika tribe and other Xhosa subgroups have managed to preserve their distinct identities and traditions. Today, the Ngqika tribe continues to play an important role within the Xhosa community and South African society as a whole. Their history serves as a reminder of the resilience and perseverance of the Xhosa people in the face of adversity. By understanding the emergence of the Ngqika tribe, we gain valuable insights into the historical origins of the Xhosa people and their ongoing quest for self-determination and cultural pride. This subchapter is dedicated to all history lovers, Xhosa people, and South Africans who seek a deeper understanding of the historical origins of the Xhosa people and the rich tapestry of their diverse subgroups. It aims to provide a comprehensive account of the emergence of the Ngqika tribe within the broader context of Xhosa history, shedding light on their contributions, struggles, and triumphs throughout the centuries. 4.1.4 Founding of the Thembu tribe. The Xhosa people were initially united under a strong central authority, led by a king or paramount chief. However, internal conflicts and external pressures eventually led to the fragmentation of the Xhosa into several distinct clans. One of these clans was the Thembu. Ngqika was known for his wise leadership and diplomatic skills. He was able to navigate the complex political landscape of the time, forging alliances and negotiating with both the British colonizers and rival Xhosa tribe. Under his rule, the Thembu tribe flourished, becoming one of the most influential and respected clans in Xhosa society. Today, the Thembu people continue to maintain a strong sense of cultural identity and pride in their history. They have made significant contributions to South African society, with prominent figures such as Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu being members of the Thembu tribe. The founding of the Thembu tribe is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Xhosa people. It highlights the complex historical origins of the Xhosa, from their migration from Central Africa as Bantu, their interactions with the Khoisan, and their eventual split from the Zulu. Understanding the founding of the Thembu tribe is crucial in unraveling the rich tapestry of Xhosa history, and it serves as a reminder of the diverse and interconnected nature of South Africa's cultural heritage. 4.1.5 Establishment Tribe of the Mpondomise. The Mpondomise tribe, led by Chief Mpondomise, emerged as one of the prominent factions following the split. They settled in the lush and fertile lands of the Eastern Cape, where they established their own distinct community. The Mpondomise people became known for their agricultural prowess, cultivating crops such as maize and millet, which not only sustained their own community but also contributed to the broader Xhosa economy. Throughout their existence, the Mpondomise tribe faced numerous challenges, including conflicts with neighboring clans and the encroachment of European colonizers. Despite these obstacles, the Mpondomise people remained resilient and steadfast in preserving their cultural heritage. They continue to pass down their traditional customs, oral histories, and rituals from one generation to the next, ensuring the survival of their unique identity. Today, the Mpondomise tribe stands as a testament to the rich history and cultural diversity of the Xhosa people. Their distinct traditions, beliefs, and contributions continue to shape the tapestry of South African society. As history lovers, Xhosa people, and South Africans, we must cherish and celebrate the establishment of the Mpondomise tribe as a crucial milestone in the Xhosa people's journey from Central Africa to South Africa. 4.1.6 Origins of the Mnguni tribe. I have vivid memories of a childhood friend from Mnguni, who used to speak passionately about visiting his relatives in Mnguni, referring to the place of the Mvengus. Back then, this held little significance for me, but recently everything fell into place. Given that Mnguni is a rural village under Dutour, Zola's reference to Mnguni indicated a location towards Butterworth. When considering the historical background of the Mnguni, everything now falls into place. In 1828, a group of Aba Mbo sought refuge in Butterworth, escaping the tumult of the Mefekane. Hailing from the Tukela River Valley in present-day KwaZulu-Natal, they were part of the Mnguni group of Bantu-speaking people. Their settlement in the Ciskei and Transkei regions allowed them to prosper as farmers and traders. They embraced Christianity and Western education, producing some of the earliest political leaders among the Cape Africans. Today, they are an integral part of South African society, boasting a diverse and prosperous history and culture. While some have integrated into the Xhosa nation, others have maintained their unique identity and autonomy. The journey of the Mnguni tribe is punctuated by numerous obstacles and opportunities in the modern era. A key challenge they face is their intricate relationship with the Xhosa, who are both their kin and former adversaries. Some have assimilated into the Xhosa community, while others proudly uphold their distinct identity and autonomy. Their struggle for land and political rights has been an enduring battle against apartheid, the Bantustan system, and the post-apartheid government. While some have advocated for their own homeland, others have pursued integration within democratic South Africa, striving for fair representation. Furthermore, the social and economic progress of the Mnguni tribe has been shaped by their unique historical legacy, cultural values, and present-day challenges. While some have achieved remarkable success and recognition in various fields, others continue to grapple with poverty and marginalization. The Mnguni tribe, with its diverse and rich heritage, significantly enriches the complexity and vibrancy of South African society. They have played a pivotal role in shaping the history and politics of the region, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's tapestry. 4.1.7 Development of the Mphando tribes. The interaction between the Xhosa and the Khoisan had a significant impact on the development of the Mphando tribe. This cultural fusion contributed to the distinct identity of the Mphando tribe. After their defeat at the hands of the renowned Zulu leader Shaka, the Mphando tribe experienced immense turmoil and displacement. The period of Mefekane brought about significant challenges for the Mphando people, as they were forced to migrate and their community fragmented. They struggled to cope with the loss of their land and traditional way of life. Many Mphando communities were scattered across different regions, which made it difficult to maintain their unity and tribal identity. However, in 1828, under the leadership of the Great Foku, the Mphando people found a way to reorganize and rise again, despite their previous hardships. Foku demonstrated remarkable insight by learning from history and adopting some of the successful war strategies used by Shaka's army, which had previously led to their downfall. As a result, the Mpando people flourished under Foku's leadership. By 1860, their population had grown to around 100,000, and they had become a formidable state with the ability to engage in trade with European traders during the 1860s. Unfortunately, the Mpando people would face further challenges and ultimately succumb to Cecil Rhodes, largely due to internal conflicts within their own groups, which weakened them. Despite these setbacks, the Mpando people exhibited incredible bravery as they persevered and adapted to their new circumstances. They tenaciously held onto their cultural heritage, preserving their language, customs, and traditional practices, which played a vital role in keeping their community alive amid the chaos of displacement. 4.1.8 Formation of the Bomvana tribe. As a member of the Chetsi clan, I trace my roots to the Bomvana tribe. Chetsi, Jalamba, Mnguni Njilo, Iankonjane Mnyama Ipabi Mafini, Inzwana Zakwa Bomvana, Inyoka Mnyama Ikanda Isai Ziba, Inkosi Ezinazange the Buking Gabokosi Zinto Eziti Hafilio in Gabi Zidla Umkuku. These are just some of the praises we recite when recounting our history through the practice of Xhosa. I never understood much about why we went through all the names we do until I saw that amongst my ancestors, Njilo is one, hence the emphasis and repeated praise in Njilo. Bomvana is highly praised in the process as well, signifying the link. Alma. Bomvana were forced out of Pondoland and settled in the area east of the Mbash River. They formed a relationship with the Gcaleka and received permission from King Hinsa. They have a historical connection with other groups like Mpondomise, Zazibe, Abekwa Mkiza, and Mpando, as they share cultural similarities. 4.1.8 Formation of the Bomvana tribe. As a member of the Chetsi clan, I trace my roots to the Bomvana tribe. Chetsi, Jalamba, Njilo, Iankonjane Mnyama Ipabi Mafini, Inzwana Zakwa Bomvana, Inyoka Mnyama Ikanda Isai Ziba, Inkosi Ezinazange the Buking Gabokosi Zinto Eziti Hafilio in Gabi Zidla Umkuku. These are just some of the praises we recite when recounting our history through the practice of Xhosa. I never understood much about why we went through all the names we do until I saw that amongst my ancestors, Njilo is one, hence the emphasis and repeated praise in Njilo. Bomvana is highly praised in the process as well, signifying the link. Alma. Bomvana were forced out of Pondoland and settled in the area east of the Mbash River. They formed a relationship with the Gcaleka and received permission from King Hinsa. They have a historical connection with other groups like Mpondomise, Zazibe, Abekwa Mkiza, and Mpando, as they share cultural similarities. The pivotal event that sparked the Sixth Frontier War, also known as the Hinsa War, was the murder of a high-ranking Xhosa chief by a Cape Government Commando party. This act of aggression provoked the Xhosa people, resulting in an army of 10,000 men, led by Rawhide Chief Makoma, launching an assault on the Cape Colony. The British eventually intervened, halting their advance after extensive pillaging, burning, and loss of life. These conflicts were characterized by brutal fighting, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. Sir Harry Smith and Sir Benjamin Durban, leading British troops, sought help from Hinsa to attack the Rawhide chiefs. Initially willing to support the British with 1,000 men, it became clear that Hinsa would not betray his fellow Xhosa leaders. This led to Durban using it as an excuse to declare war on Hinsa. British Governor Sir Benjamin Durban confronted King Hinsa with a substantial army, holding him responsible for attacks on the Cape Colony, due to his paramount authority over the Xhosa nation and its chiefdoms. Rather than escalating the conflict, Hinsa chose to engage in peace talks with the British. In May 1835, Hinsa, accompanied by British soldiers led by Governor Harry Smith, participated in peace negotiations. However, the British demands proved to be unreasonable and intended to humiliate and weaken Hinsa. Sensing this, Hinsa refused to yield and decided to terminate the negotiations. As he left, British soldiers captured him and held him as a hostage. They forced him to march alongside the British Army, subjecting him to torture and abuse. During this time, his kingdom was ravaged by British troops, resulting in the destruction of villages, loss of lives, and seizures of cattle. Despite numerous escape attempts, Hinsa was recaptured and assaulted. On May 12, 1835, Hinsa managed to break free and fled toward a nearby river. Pursued by Smith and his men, he was fatally shot in the back. In a final act of barbarity, Smith ordered Hinsa's ears to be severed as evidence of his death. His head was also detached and taken as a gruesome trophy. Hinsa's body was left unburied, while his head was later displayed in a museum in Britain. Hinsa's death stands as a tragic and disgraceful event in the history of the Xhosa people and the British Empire. It symbolized the end of Xhosa resistance and independence, giving way to a period of colonial domination and oppression. Nevertheless, Hinsa's legacy endures in the memories and culture of the Xhosa people, who consider him a heroic martyr. He remains a potent symbol of African dignity, sovereignty, and a source of inspiration in the struggle against colonialism and apartheid. After a prolonged campaign by the Xhosa people and the South African government, Hinsa's head was finally returned to South Africa in 1996. It was laid to rest with full honors in his ancestral land, allowing his spirit to find peace at last. Chapter 5. Sociopolitical Organization and Leadership within the Xhosa Tribes. Traditional governance structures. Traditional governance structures have played a significant role in shaping the history and identity of the Xhosa people of South Africa. These structures have evolved over centuries and continue to hold great importance to this day. Traditional governance structures among the Xhosa people are characterized by a strong emphasis on kinship and communal decision-making. The chief or king, often referred to as the Nkosi, plays a pivotal role in maintaining social order and resolving disputes within the community. The Nkosi is assisted by a council of elders, who offer guidance and wisdom based on their wealth of experience and knowledge. Furthermore, the Xhosa people have a deep connection to their ancestral spirits, which are believed to influence their daily lives and provide guidance to their leaders. Traditional ceremonies and rituals, such as the Ukubuyiza or ancestral homecoming, reinforce this spiritual connection and strengthen the bond between the living and the deceased. While modern governance structures have been introduced in South Africa, the traditional governance systems of the Xhosa people continue to hold significant cultural and symbolic value. They serve as a reminder of the rich history and heritage of the Xhosa people and provide a sense of identity and belonging to Xhosa individuals. 5.1. Roles and responsibilities of clan leaders. The Xhosa nation encompasses a diversity of tribes and clans that share a connection through their ancestry and culture. At the heart of this nation are the leaders, who have long served as the esteemed leaders of their respective tribes and clans. These remarkable individuals have historically played pivotal roles in shaping the political, social, and religious landscape of the Xhosa people. Throughout history, the tribe and clan leaders have been entrusted with important responsibilities. They have stood as stalwart representatives, engaging in negotiations and interactions with other tribes, clans, and colonial authorities. When sincere, these leaders have diligently worked to maintain the unity, harmony, and well-being of their people by skillfully resolving disputes, enforcing laws, and ensuring protection for all. The tribe and clan leaders have also held sacred roles in their culture's traditions. They have dutifully presided over the traditional courts, ceremonies, and rituals that form the fabric of Xhosa society. From the significant rites of initiation, marriage, and burial, these leaders have been instrumental in upholding and perpetuating the cultural practices that define the Xhosa people. In doing so, they have fostered a deep respect for ancestral heritage, unwavering loyalty to the tribe, and a steadfast devotion to the Xhosa language and dress. In accordance with the patrilineal system of succession, the tribe and clan leaders have inherited their esteemed positions from their fathers or other male relatives, ensuring a sense of continuity and stability within their leadership. In democratic South Africa, the relevance of the traditional leaders has growingly been questioned. The relevance of Amakhosi or Nkosi has come under scrutiny by many, especially due to the substantial taxpayer funds they receive, with little impact on alleviating poverty even in the rural areas they represent. This also brings up an important question for taxpayers across the nation who are not associated with the Eastern Cape or the Xhosa people. Why should they have to bear the weight of something that does not concern them? Traditional leaders primarily advocate for their own communities and tribes, not comprehensively representing the entire country's population. So why should the burden be shouldered by individuals who do not receive any benefits from the traditional leaders? 5.2. Clan hierarchy and power dynamics. The principle of seniority forms the basis of the Xhosa tribe hierarchy and power dynamics. The tribe that can trace its lineage back to the oldest ancestor, or the firstborn son of the common ancestor, holds authority over the clans, along with the right to leadership and prestige. This tribe also takes on the responsibility of protecting and guiding the clans. In Xhosa culture, the tribe that holds this responsibility is known as the Great House. They are not only Gadi. 5.3. Evolution of leadership in modern Xhosa society. Tribe and clan leaders, also known as Amakhosi or Nkosi, have wielded significant influence in the realms of politics, society, and religion among the Xhosa people. They have played pivotal roles in fostering relationships with other groups and colonial authorities, leaving a lasting impact on the Xhosa society as a whole. However, the Xhosa society has also experienced the tumultuous influence of colonialism and apartheid. These systems disrupted and altered the traditional structures and customs of the Xhosa people, introducing new forms of governance and administration. In the face of challenges such as land dispossession, taxation, migration, education, and resistance, Xhosa leaders had to adapt and respond accordingly. Some leaders chose to collaborate with colonial and apartheid regimes, while others opposed and resisted them. Furthermore, following the end of apartheid in 1994, the Xhosa society embarked on a democratic transition that presented both opportunities and challenges for the Xhosa people and their leaders. While the Xhosa people gained increased political rights, representation, and access to education, health, and development, they also had to confront pressing issues such as poverty, unemployment, inequality, corruption, and violence. Xhosa leaders found themselves in the delicate position of balancing the expectations and demands of their people with the requirements and regulations of the democratic state. In addition to these historical factors, the Xhosa society has also been influenced by the forces of globalization and modernization. These processes have exposed the Xhosa people and their leaders to new ideas, values, and influences, resulting in a greater diversity and heterogeneity within the Xhosa society. As the Xhosa people adopt different lifestyles, identities, and aspirations, Xhosa leaders are challenged with managing this complexity and diversity, while also navigating the intricacies of competition and cooperation with other groups and actors.
Welcome to Knowledge Shorts. 3 business stories. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, faced setbacks when he was ousted from the company in 1985. However, in 1997, he returned to Apple when it was struggling. Jobs implemented a series of innovative products like the iMac, iPod, and iPhone, transforming Apple into one of the most successful tech companies globally. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors, started his entrepreneurial journey at a young age. He began by selling newspapers and chewing gum, displaying his business acumen even as a child. Over the years, he built Berkshire Hathaway into a multinational conglomerate through strategic investments and wise financial decisions. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, faced numerous challenges while developing the company's Falcon 1 rocket. The first 3 launches failed, leading many to doubt the feasibility of private space exploration. Despite setbacks, Musk persisted, and the 4th launch in 2008 successfully reached orbit, marking a turning point for both SpaceX and the commercial space industry. The moral is: 1. Be innovative. 2. Start right now. 3. Never give up.
The practice of ukudla, in which young women are kidnapped for marriage, is another traditional practice that is in conflict with the law and widely frowned upon today. It involves forcibly taking a girl or woman against her will, often resulting in forced marriages and severe emotional and physical abuse. Activists and organizations have made efforts to raise awareness and advocate for the eradication of this practice. While male circumcision for the Xhosa is still legal, there has been increasing condemnation of this practice due to the numerous initiates who have died or faced health complications, some with lasting physical impairments. In 2021, Dispatch Live reported that the number of deaths of Xhosa initiates had reached 858 in the previous 15 years. This alarming figure has continued to rise, exceeding 900 by the end of 2023. This trend emphasizes the urgent need for increased regulation and oversight of the traditional initiation process. There are signs that the Xhosa customary law conflict is on its way to being resolved. However, instead of customary law taking a leading role whenever it is appropriate, it is more likely that its elements will be incorporated into national law, albeit loosely. As a result, traditional structures will slowly diminish over time. An aspect of customary law that I find problematic is how immovable property is collectively managed. This approach has led to a significant decrease in investment in rural South Africa as property investment lacks security of tenure. The communal property system in rural South Africa is detrimental to investment and disrespectful to rural property owners. This system hampers economic development in rural areas by discouraging private investment and stifling entrepreneurship. It deprives property owners of the autonomy and control over their land, hindering them from fully utilizing it for productive purposes. Furthermore, the lack of clear land ownership rights hinders the ability to access credit and loans, which hampers investment and limits economic growth. In law, individuals who rely on others to handle their affairs often face obstacles in making decisions for themselves, primarily due to factors such as age, mental incapacity, or other forms of incapability. The communal property system in rural areas implies that adults who have been managing their affairs for centuries lack the capacity to manage their own assets. This system is an insult to rural property owners, who should have the right to make decisions about their land and benefit from its use. It perpetuates inequality and prevents the accumulation of wealth and assets among rural communities. Overall, the communal property system in rural South Africa is detrimental to investment and undermines the rights and potential of rural property owners. This is one of the aspects that few would miss in modern-day South Africa, as it has been a huge impediment. Chapter 6. Cultural Traditions and Practices. Language, Beliefs and Heritage. The Xhosa people not only share commonalities with other Nguni people and the broader Bantu community, but also possess distinctive characteristics that distinguish them. These distinctions not only differentiate them from other Nguni nations, but also within the various tribes that comprise the Xhosa nation. The Xhosa nation's rich cultural heritage is evident in their traditional clothing, music, and dance, which are all integral parts of their identity. This strong sense of cultural pride and heritage has played a significant role in shaping the Xhosa community. Their traditional clothing, music, and dance reflect their deep connection to their history and values, providing a cohesive thread that binds the community together across generations. This preservation and celebration of their cultural heritage continues to be a source of strength and resilience for the Xhosa people. The food they have adapted to consider as a staple was largely shaped by the offerings available within the different areas. Hence, even though you will see many commonalities between dishes and traditions, there are subtle differences from place to place. The variability in Xhosa traditions can be attributed to the adaptable oral traditions that have been a fundamental source of knowledge for African peoples over the centuries. Initially, I perceived the absence of written records as a vulnerability, potentially paving the way for misinterpretation and exploitation. However, I now understand that this lack of documentation has enabled Xhosa traditions to evolve and remain relevant in response to societal and environmental changes. The existence of ancient written records has presented a challenge for those who seek to adhere strictly to their literal meanings in a changing world. Scholars have had to provide interpretations to adapt these writings to current times, which I suspect is the reason there is the Old Testament and the New Testament, as well as various Christian church denominations aiming to serve their specific followers through scripture interpretation. 6.1 Xhosa Language and Communication. Xhosa, also known as the Xhosa language, holds a significant place as one of the official languages of South Africa and Zimbabwe. It belongs to the Nguni group of Bantu languages, which include Zulu, Swati, and Ndebele. Across the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Gauteng, and Free State provinces of South Africa, as well as in parts of Zimbabwe and Lesotho, the Xhosa language is spoken by approximately 17 million individuals. The Xhosa language took root during the movement of the Nguni people from Central and East Africa to Southern Africa between the 10th and 15th centuries. As the Nguni people interacted with the Khoisan and the San, the indigenous inhabitants of the region, they incorporated some of their words and click sounds. Over time, different subgroups emerged, such as the Xhosa, Zulu, Swati, and Ndebele, each bringing forth its own dialects and cultures. Characterized by its intricate phonology, morphology, and syntax, the Xhosa language boasts 26 letters from the Latin alphabet, even though some are pronounced differently from English. With 18 consonants and 10 vowels, which can be either short or long, Xhosa is classified as a tonal language. This means that the pitch of one's voice can change the meaning of a word. The Xhosa language encompasses two fundamental tones, high and low. A distinguishing feature of the Xhosa language lies in the use of click sounds, created by suction inside the mouth. Dental, alveolar, and lateral clicks form the three types of clicks in Xhosa. The dental click occurs when the tongue's tip is placed behind the upper front teeth and released with a sucking sound. The alveolar click happens when the tongue's tip rests on the alveolar ridge, just behind the upper front teeth, and is released with a popping sound. Lastly, the lateral click takes place when the sides of the tongue rest on the molars and are released with a smacking sound. These clicks can be modified by adding other consonants or vowels before or after them. Xhosa's agglutinative morphology, wherein words are formed by adding prefixes and suffixes to roots, is another notable attribute. This language embodies 15 noun classes, marked by prefixes indicating the number, gender, and category of the noun. For instance, the prefix signifies a singular noun of class 1, typically relating to humans or animals, while the prefix aba represents a plural noun of class 2, belonging to the same category as class 1. Furthermore, Xhosa possesses a complex verb system encompassing a range of aspects, moods, tenses, and voices. By adding various prefixes and suffixes to the verb ukubona, to see different meanings can be expressed, such as Ngiyakubona, I see you, and Ayikubona, I do not see you, Ngiyakubaniza, I show you, Ndiyakubanwa, I am seen by you, and so on. The Xhosa language draws influence from its history, culture, and society. Due to trade, colonization, migration, and globalization. 6.2 Traditional Beliefs and Spirituality. Kamata is a Xhosa deity or supreme being, while Thixo refers to God in line with Christian beliefs, likely introduced by missionaries. Kamata is more closely associated with the traditional Xhosa belief system, and Thixo being a widely used term for God in the Xhosa language. Kamata is seen as an omnipresent force, both benevolent and malevolent, who governs the world and influences the destiny of individuals. An integral aspect of Xhosa spirituality is the veneration of ancestors. Ancestors are believed to be intermediaries between the living and Kamata, wielding significant influence on human affairs. The Xhosa people believe that ancestors possess the power to bless or curse their descendants, depending on their behavior and adherence to traditional values. Ancestors are consulted and honored through rituals, prayers, and offerings, as they are seen as protectors and providers of guidance. However, the influence of Christianity has had a profound impact on Xhosa spirituality. With the arrival of European settlers and missionaries, Christianity was introduced to the Xhosa community. Many Xhosa people have embraced Christianity and integrated it into their spiritual practices. Today, a significant portion of Xhosa people identify themselves as Christians while still attempting to maintain a connection to their ancestral beliefs. The influence of Christianity on Xhosa spirituality has not been without tensions. Traditionalists, like myself, believe that Christianity has weakened their ancestral beliefs and undermines the true essence of their spirituality. Despite the effort to reconcile the Xhosa belief system with Christianity, the reality is that the two are not compatible. Christianity and traditional Xhosa belief systems often clash due to their different perspectives on authority and spiritual connection. Christianity centers around the authority figure of Jesus to connect to God, while Xhosa tradition emphasizes connecting with Kamata through family and ancestors. These contrasting views create tension between the two belief systems, leading to conflicts within the Xhosa community. Christian missionaries have sought to convert Xhosa people to their faith, which has disrupted the traditional practices and deep-rooted beliefs of the Xhosa culture. The clash between Christianity and traditional Xhosa belief systems raises questions of cultural preservation and the right to one's own spiritual practices. This ongoing conflict symbolizes the broader struggle between Western ideologies and indigenous cultures, as Christianity represents the dominant, foreign religion, while Xhosa tradition reflects the cultural heritage of the people. The rise of fake prophets and their churches in the Eastern Cape has taken advantage of people's poverty and desperation, exploiting their vulnerability for personal gain. These so-called prophets often manipulate followers into giving large sums of money or other valuable assets in exchange for false promises of wealth or healing. As a result, many individuals and families are left in even greater financial distress after being deceived by these fraudulent practices. Xhosa spirituality is a complex tapestry that weaves together belief in Kamata, ancestral veneration, while trying to navigate the influence of religion. The Xhosa people also have a deep connection to nature and the elements. They believe in the presence of ancestral spirits in natural phenomena such as rivers, mountains, and trees. These natural elements are considered sacred and are often sites of rituals and ceremonies. Traditional healers play a crucial role in Xhosa society. They possess specialized knowledge and skills to communicate with the spirits, diagnose illnesses, and provide remedies. The Xhosa people have immense faith in the healing powers of these traditional healers, who are respected and revered for their wisdom and abilities. 6.3. Rites of Passage and Initiation Ceremonies. The Xhosa people have a rich cultural heritage that is deeply rooted in various rites of passage. These rituals have been practiced for centuries and continue to hold great significance in Xhosa society, both historically and in the present. One of the most renowned and significant rites of passage among the Xhosa is the initiation ceremony known as Owoluko. This ritual marks the transition of young boys into manhood and is considered a crucial milestone in a Xhosa man's life. During Owoluko, boys, as in Amakwenko, are taken to isolated initiation schools, where they undergo circumcision and are taught about their cultural heritage, responsibilities, and obligations as men in Xhosa society. Another important rite of passage is the initiation of girls, known as Intonjane. Intonjane is focused on teaching girls about womanhood, traditional values, and skills essential for their roles as wives and mothers. Weddings also hold significant importance in Xhosa culture, symbolizing the transition from being single to being married. Intonjane is a rite of passage for girls practiced by some of the peoples of South Africa, including the Xhosa nation. In Xhosa, Intombi refers to a girl and Jane is used to denote something small, thus a direct translation of Intonjane would be young girl. The practice is done when a girl goes through her first menstruation. It is a significant cultural practice that marks the transition from a young girl to a young woman that can potentially marry. During the Intonjane ceremony, the girl is secluded and taught various skills, traditions, and responsibilities that are expected of a young woman in Xhosa culture. The purpose is to prepare her for adulthood and ensure that she is equipped with the necessary knowledge to navigate through life. Ntonjane held great value among the Xhosa people, particularly in the past, as it played a crucial role in promoting family cohesion and creating a nurturing environment for raising children. Following Ntonjane, young women were prepared for marriage, significantly reducing the likelihood of them having children outside of wedlock. Not only did Ntonjane prepare young women for marriage, but it also instilled values such as responsibility, respect, and loyalty, which were essential in maintaining healthy relationships within the Xhosa community. Ooluko and Ntonjane marked the transitions into adulthood for boys and girls, respectively, while traditional Xhosa weddings celebrate the union of two individuals. These important ceremonies help maintain and honor the cultural heritage of the Xhosa people, ensuring that their customs and traditions remain vibrant and cherished in the modern world. 6.4. Xhosa Arts and Crafts. Xhosa arts and crafts have long played a significant role in the cultural identity of the Xhosa people. These artistic expressions encompass a wide range of disciplines, including beadwork, pottery, wood carving, and weaving. Xhosa artisans use vibrant colors, intricate patterns, and symbolism to create unique and meaningful pieces. These are often inspired by nature, spirituality, and traditional Xhosa beliefs, infusing their creations with rich cultural significance and historical resonance. The art of beadwork in Xhosa culture is particularly noteworthy, with beads being used to represent important aspects of life such as status, age, and marital status. Each bead color and pattern carries its own significance, making every piece of beadwork a visual narrative of the individual's story. The intricate patterns and meticulous craftsmanship of Xhosa beadwork reflect the deep respect for tradition and community that lies at the heart of Xhosa culture. Pottery and weaving are also important forms of artistic expression in Xhosa culture, with pottery vessels and woven baskets showcasing the skilled craftsmanship of the Xhosa people. Pottery, often adorned with intricate patterns and symbols, serves as both functional items for daily use and artwork that preserves the cultural heritage of the Xhosa community. Weaving, on the other hand, involves the interlacing of natural members to create beautiful baskets used for storage, ceremonial purposes, or even as decorative pieces. In literature, Xhosa poets have played a vital role in preserving and promoting the Xhosa language and oral tradition. Notable Xhosa poets include Gcaleka and Nontsitsi Mkhwetho, whose works have influenced generations of poets and writers, both locally and internationally. Xhosa actors have also made their mark in the film and theatre industry. Talents like John Canny, Nomsanine, and Mnguni I have captivated audiences with their exceptional performances, bringing Xhosa stories to the forefront and breaking barriers in the entertainment world. Finally, Xhosa composers have contributed to the development of classical music in South Africa. Composer of the South African national anthem, Xhosa I Africa, also contributed to the rich musical heritage of the Xhosa people. His timeless composition remains a powerful symbol of unity and liberation, resonating with people across the globe. Another essential aspect of Xhosa culture is the celebration of important milestones and cultural events. These celebrations not only reinforce the cultural heritage of the Xhosa people but also serve as important opportunities for communal bonding and the passing down of traditions from one generation to the next. 6.5. Xhosa cuisine and traditional food. The Kaffirs are an agricultural as well as a pastoral people. They cultivate the ground to a large extent and draw the greater portion of their food from it. A species of millet, called by the colonists Kaffir corn, was the grain exclusively cultivated by them prior to the advent of Europeans. Of this they raise large quantities, which they use either boiled or bruised into a paste from which bread is made. They were acquainted with the art of fermenting it and making a kind of beer, which they were fond of drinking, and which soon caused intoxication. Of this grain they were careful always to keep a good stock on hand. They preserved it from the attacks of the weevil by storing it in airtight holes, excavated beneath the cattle kraals. They had also pumpkins, a species of gourd, a cane containing saccharine matter in large quantities, and a sort of ground nut. The other productions of their gardens, as we see them at present, have been introduced since they became acquainted with the white man. Of those mentioned, their food consisted, with the addition of curdled milk and occasionally flesh. They have 2 meals a day, a slight breakfast in the morning, and a substantial repast at sunset. Boys in early youth are permitted to catch any kind of meat, even that of wild cats and other carnivora, but when they reach the age of maturity, the flesh of all unclean animals is rejected by them. They use no kinds of fish as an article of clicked, and call them all snakes without distinction. Xhosa, Folklore, by George McCaulfield. The rich and diverse Xhosa culture extends beyond their fascinating history and traditions, encompassing a vibrant culinary heritage that reflects their deep-rooted connection to the land and their ancestors. The Xhosa people, who are an integral part of South Africa's cultural tapestry, have developed a unique cuisine that combines influences from their Bantu origins, interactions with the Khoisan people, and the distinct regional variations that emerged after their split from the Zulu. Xhosa cuisine is characterized by an emphasis on fresh, locally sourced ingredients that are abundant in the Eastern Cape region, where the majority of Xhosa people reside. The fertile lands provide a bountiful array of fruits, vegetables, grains, and livestock, which form the foundation of their traditional dishes. One of the staples of Xhosa cuisine is Mnguni, a hearty and nutritious dish made from dried maize kernels and sugar beans. This dish holds significant cultural symbolism, as it was once considered a delicacy reserved for special occasions and festivals. At its most basic, the dish is only made of dried maize kernels and sugar beans with seasoning and fat for taste. Variations of this dish include addition of vegetable and meat for a hearty stew. Today, Mnguni remains a beloved comfort food that brings families and communities together. Another popular dish is umska, a sour porridge made from fermented sorghum or maize. This tangy and refreshing dish is often enjoyed as a breakfast staple, providing sustenance and energy for the day ahead. I have no recollection of eating umska, but I have had what I think to be its Swana equivalent ting. The Xhosa culture places great importance on meat, especially lamb, beef, and chicken, which are central to their culinary customs. This was evident when Mila's petty-father visited with a mutual friend of house, KG, a couple of years ago. Upon their arrival, we were in the midst of a traditional ceremony, and as they joined us, we had just finished slaughtering, and were having our first braai of the day, which they joined in. 2 hours later, another serving came from the kraal, and we continued to enjoy more meat before the main meal, which also prominently featured meat. By the following day, they opted for pap and vegetables, no longer desiring any meat. Goat meat is also highly valued, frequently utilized for rituals and cultural ceremonies. I vividly recall my initiation into manhood, where I engaged in a symbolic wrestling match with a large piece of goat meat during the celebratory feast. Ukoja, the Xhosa term for braai, represents a cherished method of meat preparation that holds a special place in my heart, evoking memories with my father. Our trips to town were always eagerly anticipated, largely because I knew we'd braai after finishing our activities. Given that most of our meals at home were prepared indoors, a braai became a special occasion. Braaiing for the family in our rural village was often interpreted as an invitation for the community, as they, in the spirit of being neighborly, assumed that maybe we were having a traditional ceremony or sacrifice, and as community members it was their duty to come and help. Pork is also cherished in our culture, prized for its rich flavor and satisfying qualities, serving as a welcome indulgence in the rural villages where meat was a rare treat. The communal ethos of our villages, where celebrations involved the entire community, often provided nourishing meals, a significant source of sustenance in challenging circumstances. The pig's head is a beloved delicacy in my home, enjoyed by every member of the family, including the 4-legged ones. While we savor the succulent meat, Skoko and Peanut delight in gnawing on the tantalizing bones for days on end. Other notable Xhosa dishes include umkuku, isapu, ifakucha, umka, Khontana, Umkufa. In addition to these traditional dishes, Xhosa cuisine also encompasses a wide range of wild foods that are foraged from the surrounding landscape. These include wild spinach and other fruit and vegetable, which add unique flavors and textures to their meals. The Xhosa people's close connection to nature is evident in their culinary practices, as they embrace sustainable and environmentally friendly food sources. For Xhosa people and South Africans, exploring the intricacies of Xhosa cuisine is not only a culinary journey, but also a way to connect with their ancestral roots. By savoring the flavors and aromas of traditional Xhosa dishes, one can gain a deeper understanding of the history, culture, and resilience of the Xhosa people. Chapter 7. Contact, Conflict and Cooperation with Colonial Forces. 7.1. Early contact with European explorers. The early encounters between the Xhosa people and European explorers mark a crucial turning point in the history of the Xhosa nation. These encounters, which took place during the late 15th and early 16th centuries, would forever shape the destiny of the Xhosa people, as they navigated the challenges and opportunities brought by the arrival of Europeans to their shores. It was during this period of migration and integration that European explorers, driven by a desire for new trade routes and resources, began to venture into the southern regions of Africa. The arrival of these explorers, such as Bartholomew Dias and Vasco da Gama, brought about a series of significant changes for the Xhosa people. Initially, the encounters between the Xhosa and the Europeans were characterized by curiosity and cautious exploration. Both sides were intrigued by the differences in culture, language, and technology. For the Xhosa people, the arrival of these foreigners opened up new trade possibilities and introduced them to novel goods and technologies. However, as European colonization and settlement intensified in the region, tensions began to arise. The Xhosa people, who had a long history of self-governance and independence, found themselves faced with the encroachment of European powers on their lands. This led to a series of conflicts, known as the Xhosa Wars, as the Xhosa people fiercely resisted European domination. 7.2. Historical Xhosa Wars and Resistance Movements. The Xhosa Wars, often referred to as the Frontier Wars, were a series of conflicts between the Xhosa groups and the British colonial forces. These wars spanned several decades, from the early 18th century to the mid-19th century, and were characterized by a complex web of political, economic, and cultural factors. Here is an overview of the wars, their causes and consequences. The First War, 1779 to 1781, began when Boer frontiersmen captured Xhosa cattle. The war ended in a stalemate, with no clear winner. The impact on the Xhosa people was minimal, as they kept their lands and livestock. The consequence was the establishment of the Great Fish River as the eastern boundary of the Cape Colony. The Second War, 1789 to 1793, was fought over a larger territory between resisting and collaborating Xhosa clans. The war ended in a Boer victory, as they pushed the Xhosa eastward and occupied the Zululand. The impact on the Xhosa people was significant, as they lost land and cattle and became divided. The consequence was the consolidation of Boer presence in the frontier region. The Third War, 1799 to 1803, saw the Khoisan joining the Xhosa in attacking white farmlands encroaching on Xhosa territory. The war ended in a British victory, as they intervened and drove the Xhosa and Khoisan from the Zululand. The impact on the Xhosa people was severe, as they lost land, cattle, and allies. The consequence was the British taking over the Cape Colony from the Dutch. The Fourth War, 1811 to 1812, was the first under British rule, caused by British expansion and Xhosa resistance. The war ended in a British victory, as they defeated Xhosa chief Ndlam and his allies. The impact on the Xhosa people was devastating, with the loss of land, cattle, and leaders. The consequence was the British annexing the Zululand and renaming it Albany. The Fifth War, 1818 to 1819, also known as the War of Xhosa, started over stolen cattle, and a failed Xhosa prophet's attack on the British. The war ended in a British victory, as they captured and executed the prophet Mnguni and his followers. The impact on the Xhosa people was tragic, losing faith, morale, and dignity. The consequence was the British declaring the territory between the Great Fish and Xhosa rivers as neutral, later ceded. The Sixth War, 1834–1836, also known as the War of Hinsa, began with Xhosa cattle raiding and British retaliation, leading to the death of paramount chief Hinsa. The war ended in a British victory, as they crushed the Xhosa army and occupied their lands. The impact on the Xhosa people was catastrophic, with the loss of land, cattle, and sovereignty. The consequence was the British annexing the territory between the Xhosa and K rivers and naming it the province of Queen Adelaide. The Seventh War, 1846–1847, also known as the War of the Axe or the Amatilla War, was the bloodiest war, triggered by a Xhosa man's arrest for stealing an axe and subsequent uprising. The war ended in a British victory, as they defeated Xhosa chief Sandile and his allies. The impact on the Xhosa people was enormous, losing land, cattle, and warriors. The consequence was the British annexing the old neutral territory as the Crown Colony of British Kaffraria. The Eighth War, 1850–1853, also known as the War of Mnguni, was instigated by a Xhosa prophet calling for war, and a multi-ethnic alliance against the British. The war ended in a British victory, as they suppressed the rebellion and captured the prophet Mnguni and his followers. The impact on the Xhosa people was immense, losing hope, unity, and resistance. The consequence was the British abolishing the province of Queen Adelaide and incorporating into the Cape Colony. The Ninth War, 1877–1879, also known as the War of Mnguni I, was the final war ignited by a Xhosa chief's rebellion and famine driving the Xhosa to desperation. The war ended in a British victory, as they quelled the revolt and disarmed the Xhosa. The impact on the Xhosa people was disastrous, losing land, cattle, and independence. The consequence was the British abolishing the Crown Colony of British Kaffraria and incorporating it into the Cape Colony. 7.3. Historical instances of cooperation between the Xhosa, British and the Boers. Despite the conflicts among the Xhosa, British and Boers, instances of collaboration between them were not uncommon. Their need to work together for economic or security reasons often led to unexpected alliances and partnerships in the region. These arrangements were driven by pragmatism, rather than genuine trust, resulting in complex and sometimes tenuous relationships among the groups involved. The constant competition for control over land and resources influenced the nature of these alliances, leading to a delicate balance of power where opportunism and self-interest played crucial roles. This dynamic environment gave rise to both surprising alliances and sudden betrayals, shaping the trajectory of the region. Notable instances of cooperation include the Xhosa forming alliances with the British against the Boers, only to later switch sides to serve their own interests. The pursuit of power and survival in a ruthless landscape drove these fluid alliances, showcasing the ever-shifting dynamics of power and resources in the region. Throughout history, there are numerous instances of collaboration between the Xhosa and the British and the Boers. In the early 1700s, certain Xhosa clans worked as cattle herders on settler farms, forming various alliances. In the 1790s, influential Xhosa chiefs like Ngqika and Ndlum allied with the British against the Boers. This pattern of collaboration continued through the 19th century, with Xhosa chiefs embracing the arrival of missionaries, signing treaties with the British, and engaging in peace conferences, all in the pursuit of stability and the protection of their people's interests. Additionally, there was a consistent pattern of shifting allegiances among the indigenous tribes as they navigated the challenges of colonial conquest. For example, the Zulu initially resisted both the British and the Boers, but later formed a fragile partnership with the British before turning against them in the Anglo-Zulu War of 1879. This demonstrates the complex and strategic relationships that indigenous tribes forged with colonial powers for survival and protection. The shifting allegiances reflect the multifaceted nature of indigenous responses to colonialism and the intricate political dynamics of the time. 7.4. Impact of colonialism on Xhosa society. The arrival of European colonizers in South Africa had a far-reaching impact on the Xhosa people, fundamentally transforming their social, cultural, economic, and political structures. The Xhosa, who traced their historical origins from Central Africa as Bantu, had already encountered significant cultural exchanges with the Khoisan people before the arrival of Europeans. Colonialism brought about a new wave of changes that would shape the Xhosa society for generations to come. One of the most significant impacts of colonialism was the disruption of traditional Xhosa governance systems. European powers sought to exert control over the indigenous population, often imposing their own governance structures and undermining the authority of Xhosa chiefs. This led to tensions within Xhosa society and the erosion of traditional power structures. Colonialism also brought about the introduction of Christianity to the Xhosa people. Missionaries arrived with the aim of converting the Xhosa to Christianity, resulting in an attempt to fuse traditional beliefs with Christian practices. Economically, colonialism had a detrimental effect on the Xhosa people. European settlers seized large tracts of land, displacing many Xhosa communities and disrupting their traditional agricultural practices. This loss of land and resources led to economic hardships and the erosion of traditional Xhosa livelihoods. The impact of colonialism also extended to language and education. European powers imposed their languages, such as English and Afrikaans, as the dominant languages of communication and education. As a result, Xhosa language and cultural practices faced marginalization, posing a threat to the preservation of Xhosa identity and heritage. Colonialism had a profound and lasting impact on Xhosa society. The disruptions caused by European colonization led to changes in governance, religion, economics, language, and education. Understanding the impact of colonialism on the Xhosa people is crucial to comprehend the complex layers of their history, as well as to appreciate the resilience and strength of the Xhosa culture in the face of adversity. Despite having leaders with impressive credentials, it appears that their impact on improving living conditions in their home province has been limited, leaving residents to grapple with persistently high crime rates and poor socio-economic indicators. The disparity between political success and tangible improvements on the ground underscores the complexities of governance and the pressing need for comprehensive solutions. Despite some superficial achievements, such as rural electrification, the African National Congress' previous successes in the Eastern Cape Province have been overshadowed by the negative impact of unreliable and costly electricity, especially for the impoverished majority. This has created a cycle of poverty and hindered economic growth, forcing many communities to rely on costly alternatives like paraffin and wood for cooking and heating purposes. As a result, the burden falls disproportionately on those who can least afford it, further perpetuating the cycle of economic inequality. In general, the Xhosa people's struggle resonates with many South Africans as the country continues to regress. The continuous migration of young individuals from the province in pursuit of better opportunities is an enduring pattern, despite previous assurances of rural development that was supported by costly taxpayer-funded initiatives that ultimately yielded little results. Today, the Xhosa people find themselves in a rapidly changing society. Globalization, urbanization, and modernization have brought new opportunities for economic advancement and cultural exchange. However, these changes also pose challenges to the preservation of Xhosa traditions and the cohesion of their communities. 8.1. Xhosa Cultural Revival and Preservation Efforts. In the rich tapestry of South African history, the Xhosa people have emerged as a prominent and influential group. Their journey from the heart of Central Africa as Bantu migrants to their interactions with the Khoisan people, an eventual split from the Zulu, has shaped their unique identity. Today, efforts to revive and preserve Xhosa culture are being undertaken by passionate individuals and organizations. The Xhosa people proudly trace their lineage back to their Bantu ancestors, who migrated from Central Africa over hundreds of years. This migration brought them into contact with the Khoisan people, resulting in a fusion of cultural practices and traditions. The blending of these two distinct groups created a vibrant and diverse community. In recent years, there has been a renewed focus on reviving and preserving Xhosa culture. This research has helped to piece together the puzzle of Xhosa history, providing valuable insights into their origins and evolution. Despite having leaders with impressive credentials, it appears that their impact on improving living conditions in their home province has been limited, leaving residents to grapple with persistently high crime rates and poor socioeconomic indicators. The disparity between political success and tangible improvements on the ground underscores the complexities of governance and the pressing need for comprehensive solutions. Despite some superficial achievements, such as rural electrification, the African National Congress' previous successes in the Eastern Cape Province have been overshadowed by the negative impact of unreliable and costly electricity, especially for the impoverished majority. This has created a cycle of poverty and hindered economic growth, forcing many communities to rely on costly alternatives like paraffin and wood for cooking and heating purposes. As a result, the burden falls disproportionately on those who can least afford it, further perpetuating the cycle of economic inequality. In general, the Xhosa people's struggle resonates with many South Africans as the country continues to regress. The continuous migration of young individuals from the province in pursuit of better opportunities is an enduring pattern, despite previous assurances of rural development that was supported by costly taxpayer-funded initiatives that ultimately yielded little results. Today, the Xhosa people find themselves in a rapidly changing society. Globalization, urbanization, and modernization have brought new opportunities for economic advancement and cultural exchange. However, these changes also pose challenges to the preservation of Xhosa traditions and the cohesion of their communities. 8.1. Xhosa Cultural Revival and Preservation Efforts. In the rich tapestry of South African history, the Xhosa people have emerged as a prominent and influential group. Their journey from the heart of Central Africa as Bantu migrants to their interactions with the Khoisan people, an eventual split from the Zulu, has shaped their unique identity. Today, efforts to revive and preserve Xhosa culture are being undertaken by passionate individuals and organizations. The Xhosa people proudly trace their lineage back to their Bantu ancestors, who migrated from Central Africa over hundreds of years. This migration brought them into contact with the Khoisan people, resulting in a fusion of cultural practices and traditions. The blending of these two distinct groups created a vibrant and diverse community. In recent years, there has been a renewed focus on reviving and preserving Xhosa culture. This research has helped to piece together the puzzle of Xhosa history, providing valuable insights into their origins and evolution. I recently discovered a wealth of historical documents in the Van Wamelo collection, which can be accessed for free on the University of Pretoria website. Over the course of 30 to 40 years, Dr. Van Wamelo, the state ethnologist in the Department of Bantu Affairs, dutifully and meticulously collected these documents. Upon his demise, these were donated to the university. This collection contains the original manuscripts that describe various aspects of the history, customs, and traditions of the indigenous people of what is now South Africa. South African heritage publishers have transcribed historical documents for easier access and offer a membership for less than $400 a year. For Xhosa people, these preservation efforts have become a source of pride and empowerment. By embracing their cultural heritage, they are reclaiming their identity in a modern world. Language revitalization programs, traditional music and dance performances, and community celebrations have all become vehicles for preserving and promoting Xhosa culture. The Xhosa Literary Revival is a movement that seeks to revitalize and enrich the Xhosa literature, both oral and written, by producing and publishing new works, as well as recovering and preserving old works. The Xhosa Literary Revival is led by contemporary Xhosa writers, such as Mnguni I, who explore the deep history and culture of the Xhosa people in their novels, poems, and essays. The Xhosa people's historical journey from Central Africa to South Africa, their interactions with the Khoisan people, and their split from the Zulu have shaped their unique identity. The efforts to revive and preserve Xhosa culture have gained momentum in recent years, with history lovers, Xhosa people, and South Africans all playing a crucial role. By unraveling the intricacies of Xhosa history and embracing their cultural heritage, the Xhosa people are forging a path towards a vibrant and empowered future. 8.2. Influence of contemporary communication, record keeping, and government systems on the revival and preservation efforts. Many people, both in their personal lives and through work, have been working hard to preserve and bring back Xhosa cultural practices and traditions. In line with our oral tradition, unacknowledged expertise, and informal learning, the individuals who have been doing this are often only recognized by their immediate families and communities, such as parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and others who uphold traditional practices, primarily in the rural villages of the country. The cooperation and coexistence between Africa and the West and East have expanded the reach of their contributions beyond their immediate circles. Thanks to social media, books, and other forms of communication and record keeping, people worldwide can now access the expertise of these unsung heroes, regardless of their internet connection or media access. There is no denying that the West has played a major role in the gradual erosion of the Xhosa's adherence to tradition and culture. Some of the most significant factors include the imposition of Western laws, the undermining of traditional informal practices through formal schooling, and military conquest. It is truly ironic that the opposite holds true, and perhaps even more so, because now we have educational institutions that not only train and certify individuals, but also provide a platform for demonstrating their expertise and ongoing research on the subject. It's noteworthy that the majority of the sources I used for my research and writing were in English, which I was able to access because of the technology available to me as an African in South Africa. This technology, largely created by people from outside Africa, has granted me access to information from around the world. As a result, preservation efforts have become more achievable than ever before. Government structures in the modern era have implemented funding mechanisms to support both organizations and individuals who are deeply dedicated to preserving the rich and vibrant Xhosa culture. Additionally, the South African Constitution recognizes and acknowledges the importance of the Xhosa people, a reflection of the lasting influence of Western heritage that can be traced back to the founding of America, and even beyond, to the time of the Romans. Professor Nokuzola Mnguni, an esteemed professor in the Sociology and Anthropology Department of Nelson Mandela University who completed her PhD, completed in 2002. The use of modern-day technologies has facilitated dialogue among people with a common objective, even when approaching it in different ways. Deluxo Hobo has brought forward compelling insights about Xhosa traditional practices and culture, while also critically examining the professor's approach to promoting her views, especially in relation to the Bible. Jongisilo Pokwana Ka Menziwa, Mnguni's nephew according to the Post, has also authored an insightful piece titled Mnguni and Her Delusional Anti-Mfengwism Posture. These discussions would not be accessible to me in my home office in Johannesburg if it were not for the modern technologies that can either be a blessing or a curse. I highlight this example because I am currently engrossed in the discourse and actively seeking diverse voices through various mediums to expand my understanding. While composing this book, I am actively delving into the ultimate resolution of the conflict. Nonetheless, I am profoundly grateful for the invaluable resources at my disposal that enable me to examine the conflict's inception, reaching back to the year 2017, and even beyond, as far as the documented record allows. By utilizing these resources, I can trace the potential resolution of the conflict well into the future, up to the year 2024 and beyond. Although I have not yet reached the point in my research where these findings become apparent, the resources I possess present an exclusive opportunity to personally glean insights from the past, rather than relying solely on oral accounts passed down by my predecessors. 8.3. Xhosa influence in politics, arts, and literature. In the realm of politics, the Xhosa people have been key players throughout South Africa's history. Their leaders, such as Hinsa and Sahili, were influential figures who played crucial roles in resisting colonial rule and advocating for the rights of their people. The Xhosa Wars, fought against the British in the 19th century, are a testament to their unwavering determination and strategic prowess. These conflicts, rooted in the Xhosa people's fierce defense of their land and sovereignty, have left an indelible mark on South African history. The Xhosa people's artistic and cultural expressions are equally noteworthy. Traditional Xhosa music, characterized by soulful rhythms and harmonies, has captivated audiences both within and beyond South Africa. The mesmerizing melodies of instruments like the umrubi and the udi have become synonymous with Xhosa culture. Additionally, Xhosa dance forms, such as the famous umglo, have gained recognition for their energy and grace. Literature has also been profoundly influenced by the Xhosa people. Oral traditions and storytelling have long been integral to Xhosa culture, with tales passed down through generations. The works of renowned Xhosa authors, such as Gcaleka and Mnguni I, have made significant contributions to South African literature. These literary giants have used their words to illuminate the Xhosa experience, exploring themes of identity, resilience, and justice. The Xhosa people have left an indelible mark on South African politics, arts, and literature. Their resistance against colonization, vibrant cultural expressions, and literary contributions have shaped the nation's history and identity. This subchapter serves to shed light on the Xhosa influence in these areas, inviting history lovers, Xhosa people, and South Africans to delve deeper into the fascinating world of Xhosa history. 8.4. Xhosa contributions to South African history and culture. The Xhosa people have made remarkable contributions to South African history and culture, particularly in the realms of politics, literature, music, art, and religion. In politics, they have produced influential leaders who have played pivotal roles in the struggle for freedom, democracy, and human rights in South Africa, including Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Steve Biko, Thabo Mbeki, and Desmond Tutu. They have also actively participated in various political movements and organizations, such as the African National Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, the Black Consciousness Movement, and the United Democratic Front. In the field of literature, the Xhosa people possess a rich and diverse literary heritage, encompassing both oral and written forms, which reflect their history, culture, and values. This literary tradition includes newspapers, novels, plays, poems, songs, stories, and legends, crafted in Xhosa or English. Renowned Xhosa writers such as Tio Soga, John Tengo Jabava, A.C. Jordan, Nontsitsi Mkhwetho, and Jabulon Ndebele, Zakes MDA, and Aincha Krog have contributed significantly to this legacy. Music is another domain where the Xhosa people have left an indelible mark. Their distinctive and influential musical style features powerful vocals and rhythmic drumming, influenced by their oral traditions, religious beliefs, and social and political struggles. Xhosa music encompasses various genres, including traditional, gospel, jazz, reggae, and hip-hop, and has been brought to the world stage by exceptional artists, such as Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Brenda Fassie, Freshly Ground, and Simpiwe Dana. The Xhosa people also excel in artistic expression, demonstrating their unique and creative perspective through beadwork, pottery, painting, and sculpture. Their artistic endeavors adorn clothing, accessories, and household objects, conveying messages and symbols of love, friendship, loyalty, and protection. Influenced by their cultural and spiritual beliefs, as well as social and environmental issues, Xhosa art truly captivates. Esteemed Xhosa artists such as Esther Mahlangu, Willie Bester Zwelethu Mthethwa, and Nandipha Mtambo have masterfully contributed to this field. Lastly, the Xhosa people's religious system is complex and diverse, comprising elements of Christianity, Islam, and traditional African beliefs. They maintain a strong belief in a supreme being, Gcaleka, whom they approach through ancestral intermediaries, honoring them with ritual sacrifices. Additionally, the Xhosa people engage in various rituals and ceremonies, such as initiation, marriage, and death, which instill moral values, social responsibility, and cultural pride in both participants and the community at large. Chapter 9. Heritage Sites and Tourism. 9. Exploring Xhosa Historical Sites. One of the most significant historical sites for understanding the Xhosa's early history is the Great K River Valley. This region marks the first point of contact between the Bantu-speaking migrants and the Khoisan hunter-gatherers. Exploring the ancient rock art and archaeological sites in this area provides valuable insights into the interactions and cultural exchanges that occurred between these two groups. One of the sites highlighted is the Ngqika cultural landscape, which is of great significance to the Gcaleka people. This site is where King Hinsa, a revered Xhosa leader, was captured by the British during the frontier wars. Exploring this site allows history lovers and Xhosa people to connect with the struggles and triumphs of their ancestors. There are also numerous towns and villages named after the forts that were built by the British colonial forces. These forts have now evolved to be names of towns and villages, some of which were evolved to come more the history of the Xhosa people. Fort Malan is one such site. My maternal village now has a memorial site for those who fought and died in some of the struggles of the Xhosa people. Around 2008, the Eastern Cape government erected the cattle killing mass grave memorial in King William Town to commemorate the victims of the Great Hunger which followed after Nonku's prophecy. Walter Sisulu University in Mthatha, which was the former site of Lovedale Institution, a mission school established by Scottish missionaries in 1824. This institution played a crucial role in educating and empowering Xhosa people during a time of political and social upheaval. Today, the university is supposed to stand as a testament to the resilience and determination of the Xhosa people in preserving their cultural heritage. Other significant sites and notable inclusions are the Nelson Mandela Museum, consisting of the Panga building, the Kunu and Mvezo components, commemorates the life and legacy of Nelson Mandela, a revered Xhosa leader and the first democratically elected president of South Africa. It features a captivating collection of his personal belongings, photographs, documents, and artworks, providing a profound insight into his pivotal role in the fight against apartheid. The Steve Biko Center in Ginsberg stands as a tribute to the remarkable vision of Steve Biko, a prominent Xhosa activist and the founder of the Black Consciousness movement. Through its museum, library, auditorium, and garden of remembrance, the center is dedicated to advancing human rights, social justice, and democracy through education, arts, and culture. The natural wonder of the hole in the wall, known as Esikalini in Xhosa, is revered by the Xhosa people as a sacred place where the sounds of crashing waves echo through a large eroded hole in the cliff, believed to be a gateway to the realm of their ancestors. The Xhosa Beadwork Museum in East London showcases a stunning array of traditional and contemporary Xhosa beadwork, celebrating the skill, creativity, and symbolism imbued in these intricate designs, and offering insight into the cultural significance of beadwork in Xhosa tradition through workshops and demonstrations. Furthermore, the Xhosa clicking language, a unique linguistic and cultural heritage, continues to captivate and intrigue with its distinct use of click sounds as consonants, reflecting the rich linguistic diversity of South Africa and the Nguni language group. 9.1. Cultural tourism and community development. Cultural tourism is a potent force for community development, especially for indigenous communities, striving to uphold their distinctive heritage and pursue economic prospects. This is notably evident in the case of the Xhosa people from South Africa, where cultural tourism has not only highlighted their profound history, but also bolstered their communities. This form of tourism allows the Xhosa people to share their remarkable narrative with the world, enabling travelers and history enthusiasts to delve into various aspects of Xhosa history, from their migration to South Africa to their encounters with the Khoisan people. Additionally, it offers the Xhosa people an opportunity to reconnect with their origins and take pride in their heritage by showcasing their traditions, language, music, and dance, ensuring the preservation and transmission of their cultural legacy to future generations. South Africa is home to a multitude of captivating destinations that offer a glimpse into the rich culture and storied history of the Xhosa people, a prominent ethnic group in the country. Embark on a voyage of discovery as you explore these remarkable Xhosa heritage sites. Kata Cultural Village, encounter the warmth and hospitality of a close-knit Xhosa community as they graciously open their doors to visitors. Engage in an enlightening journey to understand their culture, history, and the magnificent environment that surrounds them. KLR Bantu Xhosa Cultural Village, step into a living museum that brings to life the vibrant traditions, customs, and exquisite crafts of the Xhosa people. Immerse yourself in their enchanting way of life. Ikamagyu Institute, delve into the heart and soul of Xhosa heritage at this spiritual and cultural center. The Institute passionately imparts and safeguards the invaluable indigenous knowledge and wisdom of the Xhosa people. Lesedi African Lodge and Cultural Village, embark on a spellbinding adventure where you can encounter the diverse cultures of South Africa, including the captivating Xhosa, Zulu, Pedi, Basotho, and Ndebele. Immerse yourself in the tapestry of their fascinating traditions. Great Fish Point Lighthouse, at this historical landmark, feel the echoes of a shipwreck that took place in 1825. Witness the indomitable spirit of the Xhosa people as their chief, Hinsa, valiantly rescued survivors from the tempestuous sea. Olive Schreiner House, uncover the life and legacy of Olive Schreiner, an extraordinary South African writer and feminist who forged a deep connection with the Xhosa people. This museum showcases her profound impact on the cultural landscape. The National Cultural History Museum, be captivated by the vast tapestry of South Africa's cultural heritage. This museum proudly displays the diverse contributions of the Xhosa people through a remarkable collection of artifacts, paintings, sculptures, and photographs. These extraordinary Xhosa heritage sites beckon you to embark on an unforgettable voyage of discovery and immerse yourself in the mesmerizing tapestry of Xhosa culture and history. Exploration of sites to stimulate cultural tourism has a far-reaching impact on community development by creating employment opportunities, establishing tourist facilities, craft markets, and cultural centers, leading to improved living standards and overall well-being for local residents. However, recent setbacks in South African tourism have hindered the exploration of Xhosa traditional culture. The decline in tourism not only affects the economy, but also deprives visitors of the invaluable opportunity to personally experience and appreciate the richness of Xhosa tradition. Overall, cultural tourism serves as a pivotal tool for community development among the Xhosa people. It empowers communities, fosters economic opportunities, and promotes a deeper appreciation and understanding of Xhosa culture among history enthusiasts, Xhosa people, and South Africans alike. 9.2. Celebrating Xhosa cultural festivals and events. In the vibrant tapestry of South Africa's history, the Xhosa people have woven a rich and captivating narrative. From their ancient origins in Central Africa as Bantu migrants to their eventual blending with the Khoisan people, the Xhosa have overcome countless challenges and emerged as a distinct and proud cultural group. One of the most prominent festivals in Xhosa culture is the initiation ceremony, also known as Gcaleka. This sacred rite of passage marks the transition of young Xhosa boys into manhood. It is a time of great significance and is celebrated with elaborate rituals and ceremonies. During this event, the initiates are taken to a secluded location where they undergo circumcision and are taught the values and customs of their ancestors. The entire community comes together to support and celebrate the young men, showcasing the collective strength and unity of the Xhosa people. Another cherished cultural event is the Umhlanga or reed dance. In 2021, the theme for the Umpando reed dance was Umpo Wentombizama Umpando. This colorful and vibrant festival celebrates the young and married girls of the Xhosa community. Girls from various villages gather to dance and sing, adorned in traditional attire and carrying reeds. The reed dance not only serves as a platform for showcasing Xhosa cultural practices, but also promotes unity and camaraderie among women in the community. Xhosa is the Xhosa New Year celebration. It is a time of renewal and thanksgiving for the Xhosa people. The festivities usually take place in September or October, coinciding with the arrival of spring in South Africa. An important aspect of Xhosa is the slaughtering of a cow, which symbolizes the sacrifice and blessings for the year ahead. The ceremony is conducted by a traditional healer. The meat from the cow is then shared amongst the community as a symbol of unity and prosperity. Xhosa is also a time for storytelling, traditional dances, and singing. It is an opportunity for people to reflect on the past year and set intentions for the year to come. These are just a few examples of the many festivals and events that celebrate the rich cultural heritage of the Xhosa people. Each occasion serves as a reminder of the resilience, unity, and pride that define the Xhosa community. By participating in these festivals, Xhosa people not only honor their ancestors but also pass on their traditions and customs to future generations. These festivals and events provide a unique opportunity to immerse oneself in the rich tapestry of Xhosa culture. They offer a glimpse into the historical origins of the Xhosa people, their journey from Central Africa, and their subsequent splitting into various groups. Through these celebrations, the Xhosa people continue to preserve and celebrate their unique identity, ensuring that their remarkable history remains alive for generations to come. 9.3 Conclusion. Angoleli imbo yako ngofuyana. I am constantly amazed by how frequently I find answers to my present-day questions by turning to the knowledge of my ancestors. This was especially true when I was deciding on the best education option for my children. Although modern tools played a role, the ultimate answer came from looking back at how my ancestors, and the majority of people, educated their children, long before formal schooling became prevalent. The research I've conducted for this book has been a truly enlightening experience. It has not only inspired me to explore other South African nations, clans, and tribes, but also to delve even deeper into the fascinating history and traditions of the Xhosa and Khoisan tribes, but not for whom I wouldn't be. I have uncovered enduring cultural practices and educational methods that have withstood the test of time, passed down from previous generations. History has served as a wise guide, not only recounting unfolding events but also warning us against abandoning our traditions in favor of passing trends. The stories, rituals, and wisdom passed down from one generation to another have shaped not only the way children are educated but also their overall development as individuals. Writing this book has further solidified a notion instilled in me by my parents, a belief that has guided me throughout my life, that the ties that bind humanity together are far stronger than the divisions that set us apart. If we were to trace our lineage for centuries, we'd find a common ancestor among the Bantu people, emphasizing our inherent bond. Yet, delving deeper into our roots to find connection with people from diverse regions, as justification for unity may not necessarily forge closer ties, just like it didn't prevent the split and infighting of the Bantu people. It is through the strife between siblings, as seen in the profound story of Cain and Abel, that we witness the birth of a powerful narrative. The true strength lies in acknowledging and embracing our shared traits today, paving the path for a prosperous society that harnesses our collective power to uplift future generations. We have the choice to magnify the negative, but doing so would mean disregarding the positive if we want to be truthful. The clash of different tribes has caused great suffering, whether between the tribes themselves, the Khoisan, or native South Africans from the west or east. We have endured significant hardships when in conflict, yet reaped numerous benefits from coexisting and working together as South Africans. Preserving and celebrating Xhosa culture is vital because it safeguards our heritage and identity. By passing down our customs, language, and rituals to future generations, we ensure that our unique cultural legacy remains intact. This preservation is not only for our benefit but also for the enrichment of South African society as a whole. Each culture contributes to the vibrant mosaic that makes our nation so extraordinary. Moreover, celebrating Xhosa culture fosters a sense of unity and belonging among Xhosa people. Through cultural events, festivals, and ceremonies, we come together to honor our shared history and values. These celebrations provide an opportunity for storytelling, dancing, music, and traditional attire, reinforcing our collective identity and forging strong bonds within our community. By understanding our historical origins and embracing our unique traditions, we honor our ancestors, strengthen our sense of identity, and contribute to the vibrant cultural fabric of South Africa. We learn from the things that work and take caution of those that didn't.